Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Last Cast on Earth, episode 2, where we talk about hacking and modding in Last Day on Earth. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Manders, who has a little bit of news for us. Manders, anything you would like to share?
Hi guys, so I started streaming on Twitch. I've only streamed about twice now, I think. It's a work in progress, a lot of buttons to push, but it's slowly coming together.
Yep, it's getting started. Streaming is it's a bit of a process, but yeah. So not
It's a little
only
stressful.
a little bit when you first start, a little bit. So not only do we get your YouTube content, but now we get your Twitch live streaming content as well. So both of those links will be in the description. So last night we interviewed Fuerza, who, by the way, came into my channel. So wait, it's Thursday. So Tuesday night, he comes into my live stream, and everybody's like, "Wait, is it really him? Like, is it him?" And I was like, "Wait, like, why is everybody like freaking out about this guy?" Because at the time I didn't know he was like such. I knew he created YouTube content, but he's like right up there, like probably like the top. I mean, between him and Star Snipe, they're like the top 2 content creators on YouTube for Last Day on Earth, and that's a big whoopsie on my part for not knowing that. So yeah, so the chat went nuts. So Manners, what were like a couple of your like key things that we talked about yesterday?
For me, the first one was reporting hackers and things that happen after you report them.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed that none of us really knew how to report people except for through a partner. So I think that is something that we definitely should look into more. And then the expanded look on hackers and how they affect content creators was extremely surprising.
Yeah, that was one of my things, because I was coming in with the focus that, that hackers were like influenced Fort Moss, and then people got bummed out of some of the rewards that they worked so hard to get. So like that, so I was so narrow scoped and didn't even imagine, one of the things that he says was, people were showing off Fort Moss content before he was able to, and they're, I guess because they have their partnership through YouTube, like they're getting paid X number of dollars per view, and that's money that is going to somebody that's cheating in the game versus somebody that actually takes the time to, because he puts a lot of work into his videos and they're fantastic. So his stuff, his YouTube channel will also be linked in the description. But that being said, like, I really hope that the people that are doing these things, that they're using modified versions of the game, I hope you watch this video and listen to some of the stuff that's talked about, because it is impacting other players. And, well, number one, what you're doing is wrong. But number two, like, it's impacting other players, other content creators. So I really hope that you watch this video and take a second look at what you're doing. Like Fuerza said, cheating ruins games. And so even if you don't care about it's ruining it for other people, it ruins it for yourself. I mean, the whole point of the game, and this comes up a couple of times in the podcast, the whole point of the game is that it's a grind. It's supposed to be a grind. When Kafir released this season, it's supposed to be, okay, I got to work for a month or 2 months or however long to get the ATV to get to the new content, and these people are getting it in the first day. Well, then, like, you just get bored with it after that, and that's not the point of the game,
Mm-hmm.
So
right, and I mean, even if they're not going to stop hacking, at least have the simple self-respect to not post it. Like, if that's what you want to do with your own time, if you don't care about any of this, then do it on your own time. But don't take away from the people that are actually, like, working on it, and this is, like, what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's hurting content creators, and yeah, and this comes up in the podcast as well. But the people that do these things are fundamentally bad at the game. Like they have no awareness of you're building stuff in Fort Moss and then you box yourself in and you don't know how to tear down your own walls, so you just end the video. Like you run through bunkers with like mill cores and just blow everything up because you don't know like how to actually like use your active abilities or whatever. Oh my gosh. You never see them do a boss unless they have the invincible mod up. You know, they're just bad at the game.
Right.
Anyways, special thanks to Modic for the new overlay that you see right now. He just randomly sent it to me, and I was like, oh, thank you. So big shout out to Modic, as well as Star Snipe. Once again, Star Snipe coming through for the podcast, letting us use some audio from one of his YouTube videos. We hope to have you on the podcast sometime in the future. And with all that being said, let's jump into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the last cast on Earth. I am the Rukus. Joining me today is my co-host, Last Day on Earth YouTuber, and aspiring streamer, Manders.
Hi, guys.
And also, as our special guest today, super excited. We've been talking about this since last night, but pretty much been blowing up the Discord. Another Last Day on Earth partner and YouTuber. We have Fuerza. How you doing, Fuerza?
Hey guys.
Am I saying your name correctly? Like, am I close? All right, cool. I don't want to say it wrong. All right. So one of the reasons that we wanted to have you on was so number one, the topic that we're talking about, and you have a fantastic video on this topic, and we're going to talk more about that later. But when I was looking at some of your content, so I have a confession. I didn't realize, like, when I messaged you, how much of your content that I had already seen. In fact, the first Last Day on Earth video that I saw was your like 211 tips and tricks for Last Day on Earth. I'm like, wait, is there really 211? And also, how long is this video going to be? We're going to talk about 211 things. But so I started looking at more and more of your content, and I got to say, like, what I appreciate about your YouTube channel is the time and the research that you put into your videos. The reason I respect that so much is because a lot of YouTubers, they record like themselves playing the game, they chop it up and, you know, throw in some transitions, and that's the video. And if you're doing daily content, that's fine. But if you want to put together like meaningful content, like what was is Kafir or is Last Day on Earth gonna stick around forever or something? Like the research that you put in on this stuff, man, it blows my mind. You get interviews, you put so much time into that. So thank you for your content, and we look forward to more stuff that you're going to be putting out.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so guys, today most of you already know we're going to be talking about hacking and modding in the game. So the reason originally, so this was just something that we were going to talk about because it seemed like something that once we got season 3, more and more people, like you see these people like streaming on Twitch, you see more YouTube videos coming up about, you know, all the stuff that they're doing. And since season 3, you know, new content, well, now they have more stuff that they can hack and get into and stuff. So they're doing that. So that was before. And now, since the Fort Moss stuff happened and Star Snipe put together his video, and he said, hey, I think maybe that these guys that are hacking and modding, they're impacting the game for everybody else. Because before it was like, yeah, sure, like it's a single player game. So if you hack and you mod and whatever, like who cares? It doesn't affect you. Rukus, why are you so mad? Well, now that everybody got bumped out of the top 5% at Fort Moss, they're like, oh, something has to be done. I'm like, that's what I've been saying from the beginning. But hey, all right. So let's see. So the thing that just blows my mind about people that cheat in this game, like hacking in Last Day on Earth is like you're playing Super Mario Brothers without any enemies and no places to fall. You just run, you get to the end, and that's the game. Like, the fun in Last Day on Earth is the grind. It's the time that you put in and the rewards that you reap out of that. So Manders, we're going to talk about hacking and modding. Can you give us the definition? So what when we talk about hacking and modding, what does that mean?
Okay, so hacking is altering an existing system to behave in a different way, editing or supplementing game code. Hackers create these programs that modders heavily rely on to use these mods. Game code is basically a code specific to the game that developers use to make the game run, like instant actions, run, use weapons, etc. Modding is an alteration by players that change one or more aspects of the game, such as appearance, behavior. Modders use the exploit mods that were created by the hackers themselves.
So is it safe to say that the majority of the people that are doing this stuff in Last Day on Earth, that they're not actually hacking the game? They downloaded like a modded APK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think calling these guys hackers is giving them way too much credit. I don't want to do that. So that stuff. So hacking and modding, that's different than, doing things like glitches and tricks and exploits and things like that. So like everybody knows about the wall trick. Some people love it, some people hate it. I had mixed emotions. I hated the wall trick when I couldn't do it, and now that I can do it, now I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. I'm gonna do it all the time. The thing about doing like the wall trick and the box trick, if you're raiding, that, where the zombies just like kind of stop in their place because they can't get to you. Those things require at least a little bit of skill. Like you have to know how to wall trick. You have to know how to set up the box trick and things like that. But yeah, like the wall trick, Kafir knows it's a thing. They put out a video, like one of their promo videos for leading up to season 3 was a frenzied giant slapping the wall in Alpha Bunker in the showers, and the dude was like popping out and hitting them. So they know that's a thing. They know the box trick is a thing because they made it to where if you're trying to do that with the big one, when he spawns, he just spawns on top of you and slaps you in the face. So they know that these things are in the game, and they've done what they felt was necessary about it. Then there's things like the exploit at Fort Moss where you can like pick up spikes and barbed wire and then put them down again and keep doing that. And that counts as 12. And people like every day in my stream are like, oh, Rukus, why are you building all of these spike traps? And why are you building all these barbed wire? All you got to do is pick them up. And I'm like, I know, okay? I know. I get told every day. That's just something that I chose not to do because I feel like Fort Moss maybe wasn't tested as much as it should have been because it seemed like Fort Moss was buggy. Like the zombies would just like stop for no reason. You could stand there and shoot them and they would just accept their fate. So I felt like Fort Moss had like a few bugs that maybe could have been worked out. So I just chose not to exploit that. So anyways, back to the topic. I'm going to play, Fuerza, if it's all right with you, I'm going to play a short clip of a video that you made called Should I Hack in the Last Day on Earth? So I'm going to play this real quick.
Time. But one thing that I was surprised by is how much this program encourages me to make videos about hacking or modding Last Day on Earth. Thousands of people are searching for information about how to cheat in Last Day on Earth. Now, I do not hack or mod, so I cannot give you exactly what you are wanting, but this video is my attempt at giving you everything I have on the subject. When I was in high school, I used to play the game Age of Empires, and I loved it. The strategy, the time management, I loved playing that game. And then one day, one of my friends taught me the cheat code to summon the Photon Man. The Photon Man was super powerful, and I loved the cheat code. For 4 days, I had a blast with the Photon Man. But after those 4 days were over, and I was bored of cheating, I tried to play the game normal again, and I couldn't. Not because I didn't know how or I couldn't strategize, it just wasn't fun anymore. After just 4 days of cheating, the game that had been fun for months was no longer fun. And over the last 2 decades of being a gamer, I have seen this over and over again. Cheating ruins games.
I couldn't agree with that anymore. Cheating ruins games. So so in this video, keep in mind, this video was made a year ago. So season 3 was like not even on anybody's radar. Fort Moss wasn't on anybody's radar. So a year ago, why did you decide to make that video?
Well, so I don't know if you're gonna like my answer. The it's not as quite as noble as it might have seemed. But the truth is, I had just gotten a subscription to vidIQ, which helps YouTubers kind of know what people are searching for, and what people are looking for. And I noticed as I was looking at Last Day on Earth that the highest what people are looking for online, or at least at the time, was hacking. How to hack Last Day on Earth. People wanted to know how to mod it. People wanted to know how to cheat. And so I sat there and I was like, well, at first I was frustrated because I was like, well, that's the one thing that I'm not going to teach you, because my channel is about teaching people how to play games. That's what I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I do the research that I do. And so when I found out that what people wanted to know, one of the top 5 things that people wanted to know was about how to mod or how to hack Last Day on Earth, I thought, well, I don't have anything to say, but then I realized that I could make this video on my opinion on what cheating does in the long run. And so that's what I ended up doing. But ultimately, it was built out of the frustration that, I kind of screwed myself over a little bit with my YouTube channel. I put a lot of work into my videos, and then Last Day on Earth, which was geared very differently back then. It was much more free to play. It was exploding. It's no longer the same free to play game that it was. It's very much, it's built a lot more around the pay to win aspects. At least at the time, you could achieve everything in the game free to play, and that's no longer the case. And so it was growing at a rate that, in my mind at first, I thought, well, I'll just put a lot of work into my videos. And then as the game continues to grow, you'll get enough views to pay for the time that I spent, kind of a long-term plan. But then the game changed, and the interest waned. And so I was looking for subjects that I could get more views on. And truth be told, I got a lot of views on that video. It's not necessarily better than a lot of my other videos, but that's really the bottom line is I thought, well, this is what people wanted to know. People want to know how to mod or hack Last Day on Earth. I'm not going to teach them how to do that because I don't even know how. But I can give my opinion on it. And so that's the reason I made that video.
Okay. Yeah. So it was giving the people like what they wanted without really exactly giving them what they wanted. So
Yes.
You said it kind of like or like it hurt your channel a little bit. Like, was it because of that video?
Oh no. That video did really helped my channel.
Okay.
The fact that the devs kind of changed vision for Last Day on Earth was hurting my channel. So that's why I was looking for new. I was looking for, well, what do people want? Yeah. And that's when I learned that, honestly, it was in the top 2 things that people were looking for. Maybe the top thing that vidIQ at least was saying that people wanted to know is, how do I mod or hack Last Day on Earth? And so that was the origin, is basically supply and demand. So many people wanted to know the answer that, like you said, I was giving them my answer, which isn't necessarily what they were wanting to hear.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what was the community reaction to that video? Like, your YouTube comments, what were people saying about that?
So, I would say, if I were to break it, so it has one of the lowest like ratios of any of my videos. And part of that's probably because, people, as designed, it's supposed to target people who are looking for Last Day on Earth hack or Last Day on Earth mod. And so those people probably aren't really interested in hearing, hey, you're ruining games for yourself.
Exactly.
And so I probably got a lot of dislikes from that, but it still has I think an 85% like ratio. So it's still high in the grand scheme of things, it's definitely not like I made a video talking about how mobile gaming is the future of the gaming world, and I got like a 66% like ratio on that video. So it definitely wasn't as low as that.
Yeah. But, wait, that only got a 66%? Because I watched that video and I was like, he's right.
Oh yeah, man. People were really upset with Blizzard, and I was basically saying, guys, Blizzard's right, and they were so mad at me. I've never gotten so much hate, but the video also exploded because of all the hate. It's weird how YouTube works.
Yeah,
hate can actually help you in YouTube, which is a really trippy feeling to almost want hate sometimes. And so. But yeah, so I'd say generally it is definitely my least liked Last Day on Earth video. It is my I got a lot of people that were like, preach it, like you did it, yep. Good job, you're right, I got a lot of those. But then I also got a lot of comments of just very unapologetic people just saying stuff like, cool, well, I hack.
Yeah, like that's
and I got a ton of those comments of just people being like, well, I hear what you're saying, and they're not necessarily upset about it. They're just like, this is what I do, and this is how I enjoy the game, and you can say what you want, but this is how I'm gonna choose to live my life, and and I couldn't really argue with that.
yeah, that's just, if that's what they're going to do. But, like, it did, because I was scrolling through some of the comments, and I was like, and it seemed to be in like, a couple of different categories. Like you said, people were like, yep, that's it. Like, you're right, these people are, like, they're ruining the game for themselves and for other people. And then people that were like, yeah, well, like, I, like, just openly admitted, like, yeah, I'm a hacker. What are you going to do about it, big guy? And then later we're gonna talk about a video from Starsnipe where he talked about it, and like people were like, again, admitting that they were hackers, but at the same time, like, I didn't realize that what I was doing was going to impact the game for other people when I was doing the stuff in Fort Moss. I apologize for that. And yeah, so we'll talk. Actually, yeah, since we're on that subject, I'm gonna play another audio clip. This is from Starsnipe's video called Hackers Just Ruined Season 3 for Everyone. Goodbye, ATV. He's not dramatic at all. All right, so here's a quick clip from that video.
So I'm just saying, things are low-key looking kind of sketchy. Like, here's what I'm really worried about. I think that hackers are really inflating this leaderboard. And yeah, and unfortunately that's a little bit of a bummer, man, because like how else are people getting so many points in a day unless they're just building absurd bases for absolutely no reason? I don't know, man, but like over there we got some defense points. I believe building up to stone is our best bet. We get about 80 defense points from that, but like even then, man, we're just slowly crawling up there. We're gonna have to do some absolutely insane stuff to try and get all these defense points right here. Like, and the unfortunate thing is that like I think hackers might count towards this leaderboard. As a result, like it's I don't know, dude, because like I think that this leaderboard might be kind of messed up by hackers, and I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be a huge bummer if we end up losing out on that reward, because like there are definitely hackers out there who have like hundreds of thousands of points who just build a full steel base, and like by the looks of it, I think they count towards this leaderboard, which is like, I don't know, man, that's kind of freaking insane. And the fact that people are getting more than like 10,000 points a day just doesn't add up, because the most you can get, like from the quest, is 7,500 right there. But people are getting significantly more. So, I don't know, I'm a little bit bamboozled by it.
So that was Starsnipe realizing that he probably wasn't going to make it into the top 5% at Fort Moss. So that comes from him. What he was doing, like he was doing the horde. He was building up. He had a pretty good amount of stone walls and everything. And he got kicked out of the top 5% himself. So why he was so confused by it was like you can only get so many points, like he was saying. You can only get every day that you complete the horde, you get those 7,500 points. So you would imagine if you're in the top 5%, you're going to stay there if you get to level 30 on Fort Moss and you do like the hardest wave every day, which he was doing, which a lot of people were doing. So when you get bumped out of that, you're like, what the heck's going on? So doing a little bit of research on my own, every metal or every steel wall that you build gives you 150 points on top of whatever it already was. So building it up to steel is 150 extra points. That's not counting the metal floors either. So if you're able to do that everywhere and just kind of honeycomb that in, you're going to get thousands upon thousands of extra points, like tens of thousands of extra points for doing that. So it's understandable how you can suspect that that hackers played a significant role in the standings in Fort Moss. Fuerza, had you seen that video before?
No, I hadn't. No, I hadn't.
So on that short clip, do you agree with Star Snipe, or what are your thoughts there?
So yeah, I guess I do. I have beef with Last Day on Earth and hackers. I think on a what I feel, which maybe other gamers would disagree, is on a bigger scale than Fort Moss. But I don't know if this is the time to share that or
no, please, because this the whole episode's about hacking and modding. So elaborate on that.
Well, so one thing that I was sharing with Vigilante that was frustrating me is I helped Grimsoul Survival start cracking down on some hackers before Last Day on Earth did any work towards hackers, which they're both Kafir, but different dev teams, and Grimsoul kind of pioneered the cause of overcoming that. And so I kind of helped. In fact, I made a video. This is a long time ago. In fact, this was right after Grimsoul even said they were Kafir, because at first they kind of were under the pretense that they weren't Kafir. I don't know if you've seen my video on that.
Yeah, I did.
And so when shortly after they said, okay, we are Kafir, I was working with the devs there, and I made a video showing them how to report a YouTuber. And so Grimsoul started doing that. Now Last Day on Earth does it. And so they report and try to shut down YouTube channels that are hacking. And they've done a pretty good job of that, but there's a few hackers that they haven't been able to shut down. I'm not sure why, and they're not sure why. Otherwise they would, but I was explaining to Vigilante, I showed him a video of a guy that unlocked the ATV and, had unlimited grenade launcher.
Oh, jeez.
And I told him, I was like, look, I'm a partner with you guys. All I care about is helping. I'm honestly, I'm kind of burnt out of Last Day on Earth after 2.5 years. And really the reason I still would love to cover it is just because what I really enjoy is teaching other gamers how to play. And so that's still fun for me.
Yeah.
I'd love to keep doing that, but I don't have the ATV, and y'all didn't want to give it to me, which is fine. That's their prerogative.
Yeah.
But this hacker just is getting 2,000 views an hour.
Oh my God.
From his video, and that's 4 times as much as my entire channel with 200 Last Day on Earth videos.
Oh my God.
And so I was just telling him, I was like, by you not giving us the ATV in the alpha so that we can create the videos and release it when it comes, you're kind of rewarding these hackers. I mean, 2,000 views an hour on a long video like that, that's $4 an hour. That guy's making $4 an hour, 24/7. You know, we're talking about thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
That this hacker is making, you know, that's the money he's making. And someone like me, or really not just me, any YouTuber, any partner, that doesn't have that opportunity now is now missing out on real money. That honestly, it's part of the reason I've been struggling with Last Day on Earth is Kafir's not sponsor. They've decided they don't want to do sponsors in the traditional sense. And so I mean, some people that just do gameplay videos that and are popular are able to do pretty well. They still have to make enough money for their time. But you know, I'm still making less than minimum wage for the time that I put in. And so to see a hacker make thousands of dollars, it's hard being a partner of Kafir and being like, okay, well, I don't really know if y'all are going to look out for me, you know? And so that's kind of where I'm feeling. Again, it's Kafir's game. They can do whatever they want. It made me think maybe I should be looking for a different game, you know, just, and I know Kafir doesn't want that. I mean, Kafir tells me they value me and they have given me a lot of great things. You know, I would attribute probably close to 10 to 15,000 of my subscribers to them giving me early access. So I definitely feel appreciative to that, but it just makes me think, man, there's real money on the line. And I think that gamers probably feel the same way about, you know, they probably spent money to get up into the 5% of, you know, to get those rewards. And so in that way, there's still real money on the line for them, and they may have spent thousands. So, you know.
Oh, God, I would hope not.
Yeah, well, some people, oh my gosh, there's some people that spend a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is there's real money on the line, and so that creates a different feel to this whole problem. So
and that's something I didn't even think of. So especially for somebody like you that puts in so much time and effort into putting a video together, they're so well thought out, and then you know, everybody else is grinding, trying to get, you know, the ATV to show off the new content. And then this guy is like, yeah, day one, I got it. What's up? Puts it on YouTube. And then, because those are people that are like, yeah, I want to see the new swamp area. I want to see this and that. You know, somebody puts it out there first and they're like, okay, well, I seen it. I don't want to see it again. So they're not going to go to the next person's channel that, you know, because they got what they needed. So that's a view that, you know, you're probably not going to get back, which
totally. And a lot of the comments on that guy's video was, I hate that you're cheating, but thanks for the information. Literally, that is the comment.
I know. So going back to Star Snipe's video, reading through some of the comments, because people were like, yeah, like boo hackers, and this guy was like, it was so funny, hackers or people that use like modded versions of Last Day on Earth have no game concept. Because this guy, I promise this was a comment. He was like, well, yeah, I have a hacked version of the game, but when I raid somebody's base, I duplicate all their items before I leave. And it's like, it's like, doofus, you know that's not their real base, right? Like, come on, dude, what? But of course they don't know that. Of course they don't know, because like they're not in the game. They have no clue. If you ever watch somebody that uses a modded version of the game that has no like game sense or like anything, they're bad at the game. They are absolutely terrible at the game. Like there was a video of like this person that was like trying to build up like steel walls at Fort Moss, and they like box themselves in and like don't know how to get out. They don't know how to take the walls down. I'm like, what is this garbage? Like, how are you this bad at oh my gosh. It was so frustrating. Wow. I don't know. So Manders, you have you seen the video that we played that audio clip from?
Yes, I have.
What do you think about what Star Snipe has to say about hacking?
Well, I mean, listening to everything now, I kind of have two sides to it, right? So, my original side to this, my input is not going to be a popular one, but I'm going to use myself as an example. I did a lot at Moss. I put a lot of resources into it, but I got comfortable in the top 5 the first week, and I didn't even go to Moss for like 3 days because I was like, oh, I'm good. I'd check my game, like, oh, I'm still in the top 5. I'm not going to play today, you know? And I was doing level 1 hordes through the entire thing, which was
Oh.
probably not a great idea on my part. But I was like, if I'm still in top 5, why am I going to struggle doing a level 3 horde when I can do a level 1 horde, pass it, and be on my merry little way? So that was where my mindset was for a while. And then the very end, I was like, I'm not gonna make it, guys. I'm not gonna make it. So I started doing level 3 hordes, and I ended with 163k points.
Oh wow,
And
that's top 10, right?
Yeah, it's top 10. And to be in the top 5, I heard you need 172k. So I only needed 9k more to get into the top 5. So if I had done 2 more waves on the 3 skulls, I would have been in top 5 no problem. So I don't think this is where people are going to get angry. I don't necessarily think hackers influence the point system dramatically, because I feel like if they did, then the points that you would have needed to be in top 5 would have been a lot more than what they were. But that's just my opinion, though. And then thinking about the broader aspect of all of it, like, I can see all of the points, like, from Star Snipe and from Fuerza. Like, I get it. Like, it makes so much sense both ways you look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so after watching Forza's video and seeing that thousands, because like I guess I had no idea like the full scale of how many people were playing the game. So when he said that, because I was like, oh well, maybe it's just a small percentage of people that actually are using these modded versions. But when he was talking about thousands upon thousands of people were searching for that makes me think, okay, well, those are only the people that want to know how to do it, not including the people that are already doing it. So,
Right.
so I don't know. Like yeah, and so I mean, you know, we all got our opinions over here. We all got our opinions. I happen to think and other people as well. I mean, I don't know. You guys in the chat, what do you think? Like, do you think that that people that are using modded versions, do you think that they like influence Fort Moss, or how much do you think they influence Fort Moss? Because even if it's 3%, that's over half of the people that should have got the top 5 rewards that didn't. And I just can't fathom somebody, and because I didn't do all of the top waves as well, but people have to catch up to you and then surpass you. So if you're doing everything that you can do and you're in the top 5% and you're doing the hardest horde, you should theoretically never drop down unless somebody gets a ton of points from something, and the something is building steel walls, which nobody's going to do unless you have unlimited resources. And who do we know that has unlimited resources? So yeah, I don't know. What about Forza? Did you invest into Fort Moss?
Sorry, you cut out.
Invest
in what?
In Fort Moss. Did you were you trying to get those ATV rewards?
Yeah, so I was just looking at my results. What was the lowest reward? Was it the 15 engine parts?
Yeah, 15 engine parts was the lowest.
Yeah, so that's what I ended up getting. So basically where I'm at right now is I'll play in the alpha.
Gotcha.
And I'll play a lot in the alpha, and I'll make as many videos as I can, which in this case wasn't hardly any, because most of the stuff's, well, I made a lot of gameplay videos on my other channel.
Right.
But there wasn't a lot of tutorials to make because I didn't have access to the ATV. And so, but then after alpha is released, I can't really compete with people. Well, I don't know. So sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll play, but this time I didn't. I was really trying to get into the Call of Duty mobile scene, and so that's kind of where a lot of my focus was, which doesn't seem to be panning out. So I may be coming back to Last Day on Earth, just because that's where most of my subscribers are and where they're wanting me. But so yeah, so I was in the top 5 for a while.
Yeah.
In fact, for at least a week. So in that 2 or 3 days of playing in the alpha, I got far enough to where I stayed in the top 5 for at least a week, if not 2. But obviously I ended up making it into whatever that bottom rack was. Was that the bottom 50% or?
What is it? I think the last tier is 95%.
Really?
I think so.
See, that would surprise me because a lot of people are casual gamers, and I didn't get that far, but I did get up to like level 20. So my guess would be it'd be in the bottom 50%.
Okay.
Which is still not great, but again, I did it in 3 days, so
Yeah. Yeah. I was I kind of felt like a jerk for how mine ended. So I was on the edge of the top 10%. And then on like the last, so there was like an hour left, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do this last horde." So I go and I forgot to put gas in my turrets, and I failed. So I was like, "Ah, crap." So I grabbed a bunch of resources, rebuilt my walls, put gas in the turrets. So with like 10 minutes left, I complete the horde, and it puts me in the top 10. And I was like, "Oh man, somebody was definitely like banking on getting in the top 10, and I just kicked them out." So I kind of felt bad about how I ended, but I'm like, "Hey man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to get the ATV too. So what are you gonna do?"
That's how the competition goes. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we talked about this a little bit. Manders, how can you tell if somebody is cheating in the game?
So if someone is cheating, modding, hacking, there's a couple things to look for. Basic number 1, if they have a steel base at level 1, obviously they're cheating. Basic number, do they have items that are not in the game? Like the Dragonov, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Dragonov, yeah.
Yeah, if you have that, then you're not right. Are they crafting
right.
items? Are they crafting items and building walls with no resources in their bag?
Mm-hmm.
Are they splitting things that are duplicating the items, such as like a C4? You cannot split a C4. So if you split it and there's more than one there, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And are they purchasing things from the store without using money? Like, I've seen so many videos where they're just clicking things. I'm like, wait, hold on, rewind. What just happened?
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So those are just a few things that I've seen.
Yeah, and
that would insinuate the cheating.
And then the audacity that they have to actually, because you're not gonna know, like if you're looking at somebody playing the game, like you're not gonna know, you know. But when they have the audacity to like stream it on Twitch or put their stuff on YouTube, it blows my mind, like the cojones on these people. So it definitely throws me out. But on that note, so I don't want to call anybody out here. So without mentioning names, has there been a time where you caught or suspected somebody of cheating in the game? Like, what were they doing? Manders, how about you?
There's been a few instances when I've seen cheating in the game on YouTube and Twitch. Multiple examples. They were upgrading walls with no resources. They were splitting the C4. They were actually using those C4 in a raid and taking no damage from the big one when he hit them.
Oh my god.
They like blew up every wall in the base, and he was there just slapping them. And I'm like, wait, is this real? Is this real life right now? Yeah, I was like, this isn't right.
And that was a live stream, or that was YouTube?
That was on YouTube, I believe.
Good night.
And then, yeah, it was when I was doing my base raid research. I saw it, and I was like, well, then.
Well, you're not going to learn anything from that. Like, here's what you do. Blow up every wall and don't take damage. Ready, break.
Right. Like, okay, yeah, I totally got that. I'll be dead in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then another one I saw, they were crafting trunks, and they would craft one gun, and then they would split it like a whole bunch of times to fill up those trunks. And I was like, wait, hold up. And this was like my early gameplay, so I'm trying to learn things. I'm watching these videos.
How do you do that?
Wait, when I hit split and it didn't duplicate, what's wrong with my game, you know?
Wow. Fuerza, what about you? What's like some of the crazy stuff you've seen some of these guys doing?
Well, so, when I started 2.5 years ago, almost all of the YouTubers cheated.
Oh,
it was not, the culture was not as anti-cheating as it is now. There was no consequences. People wanted answers because, they were wondering why they couldn't get the parts for the motorcycle, and they didn't realize that the parts for the motorcycle didn't exist at the time. And so, and then it was, the ATV was also there. So there was a lot of cheaters, but not everyone. Obviously Starsnat was not a cheater.
Yeah.
Cyric didn't really exist, at least not in a big sense. But most of the big guys, they cheated. Tripex, there's a lot of them, and again, back then it wasn't really that big of a deal. Like, they weren't necessarily viewed as negatively to cheat. It was a different culture back then, and people were just trying to figure out information. There were no official partners. Everything was just more of a Wild West back then. And so I didn't cheat just because that's not what that's not what I care about. What I care about is just making tutorials. And several people kind of viewed me as like their righteous, like, oh yeah, this is
Messiah.
Here's the guy who's not cheating, and I actually never wanted that title. I didn't really necessarily have a problem with other people cheating, other than what I said in my video, where I think you're ruining the game for yourself. But
yeah, I
didn't really have a moral conviction for Kafir. I didn't have a lot of like sympathy of like, oh no, like you're stealing from the game company. I have more convictions on that now. Probably not quite as much as maybe Kafir would want me to have, but I do have more than I did. But yeah, a lot of people would find ways of getting the ATV transmission beforehand and make videos about it. But all the YouTubers were just trolling everyone anyways. I mean, even the big guys, they would just troll just because that's what got views.
Yep.
And so, my experience with cheating actually, I feel like got a lot worse with Grimsoul. Grimsoul was trying to crack down on it and stop it, and so there was quite a bit of drama. There was a YouTuber that I liked. He'd reached out to me, a Grimsoul YouTuber, and he was making helpful videos for people, and I appreciated that. And but he was caught cheating for a lot of the stuff that Mander said, not the obvious stuff. There was, before that with Last Day on Earth, there was a case of a pretty big YouTuber that was caught cheating that Kafir was helping in the early part of the partner thing, and so people were trying to get him to lose his partnership status, and it was a lot of drama. That's when people were kind of like, oh yeah, JCF is the noble one, and I was like, wait, what? And then they would pit us against each other, and so that YouTuber hated me for a while, and it was just a real mess. But then with Grimsoul, there was this guy who I really liked, and another guy who didn't like him kind of found out that he was cheating, not by the obvious stuff that Manders was saying, but probably the easiest way to catch someone who's trying not to get caught is the split button. Because it's too hard if you're a cheater, it's too hard to hide it in every clip to where you're never clicking on something and it doesn't show the split when it shouldn't. And so what will happen is they'll finally find, out of culling through tons and tons of minutes of their videos, they'll finally find that one clip that shows them selecting a single item or something that can't be split, and the split button is highlighted. They didn't show splitting it.
Yeah.
You could still tell that it was highlighted. And so they're able to report it as cheating. And then Kafir has ways of just, looking into their, system.
Yeah.
And so this guy got caught cheating, and I wasn't sure if Kafir had been, helping him out with items or not. And this was before they found the split button. And so I actually vouched for him. Because I told Kafir, I was like, look, even if he's cheating, like, his YouTube channel is about helping people. Like, it's kind of a lonely world out there when you're trying to make it, and YouTube it can get in your head. You want to experience success. You're not sure what that measure of success is. And so you can kind of do any means necessary, and cheating can be that way for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I kind of vouched for him, and they received that. So they just gave him a warning. And I got so much flack for that. I mean, people were
really,
like their righteous hero just had fallen.
Oh my gosh.
The enemy, and I was the horrible, cheater sympathizer, and they were, so then all of a sudden there was tons of accusations of, well, maybe JCF is cheating,
my gosh,
why would he which of course Kafir has all my information, so they just went and looked it up, and they're like, yeah, he's never cheated,
Yeah.
So anyways, lots of drama. And so this whole thing, like, my passion is I want gamers to know, hey, there's a real way to have fun, and there's a real way to have fun with video games, and hacking is one of many ways that you can ruin that fun for yourself. Addiction is another way. I don't want to see people addicted to video games, because it ruins it for yourself. You end up not actually enjoying it, and I want it to be something that augments life, and that people, gamers, have real, full, awesome lives with awesome spouses and kids, and just experiencing the real fullness of life, where games is an augment to that. And it's not an escape, it's not an addiction, it's not and I think that hacking is a real easy way that people it can sound fun, but in the end it ends up ruining the whole point of having a video game in the first place. And they end up ruining it for themselves, which just makes me really sad.
Yeah. So in this case, it's hurting other people. Like it hurt you. It hurt people in Fort Moss. In my opinion, apparently it's like some people feel one way, some people feel the other way. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It ruins it for themselves. They're cheating themselves, especially in this case. They're cheating themselves out of a great game. The fun in this game is the grind. And, I got to go spend an hour farming wood because I need to make my wood into planks. And then, and then I need charcoal. So I got to, this is something I have to do. And all like the little things like that. Those things never stop. And that's, but, you use that, you use that stuff. You use the planks take them over to Fort Moss and get rewards. Use the charcoal, to throw in your furnace and make some steel. And so it's all stuff that you have to do. And then these people are like, oh, yeah, I have 1 steel, and now I have infinite steel. It's like, it's not fun, Yeah, and then, and yeah, that's a really good thing that you were saying about if you click on like a C4 and you see it gives the option to split. That's something that I was like, ooh, like people that are trying to be sneaky, I'm going to start looking at that now. I'm looking at you, Manders. If I see one of your YouTube videos, they're like, yes, I have 1 C4. Whoops, I got 2. How did that happen? But yeah, so I was, and I was still relatively new to Last Day on Earth when I caught somebody, it was another Twitch streamer, and so like I'm getting used to the community, and I'm making friends with people, and it's just like, so like it's common courtesy that what you do, like when you're done, you find somebody else that's also streaming the game. So there was this guy, I don't remember the name of the guy. He's not on Twitch anymore. But anyways, I was like, oh, okay, I've never seen this person stream, but, we're going to rate this guy. So everybody, let's go show him some love, yada, yada. We get over to his channel, and he's in front of the specialist, like, duplicating, like, the badges and stuff to turn in, and he's getting, like, a bunch of floppy disks and, like, all the rewards and stuff from, like, and I was like, oh, wait, what? Like, what? Like, wait, and like immediately, like I'm typing in chat, I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I'm so sorry. I had no idea what I was getting myself, or like, what this guy was about. And somebody was like, this guy's a hacker. And he was like, I'm not a hacker. I don't know how to hack. I don't know. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So then he was playing it off like, I thought that's just how the game was. Like when I split this item, it just duplicates it. That's just what I thought the game was. So anyways, like, people gave him a hard time. Everybody left. Then I was like, dude, I'm going to, like, report you to Twitch and to Kafir. And he was like, I don't care. I'll just make a new account and do the same thing over again. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, then. So that kind of leads into the next couple of questions. The first of which, and Fuerza, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this. How do you report somebody that is suspected of cheating in the game?
Well, as a YouTube, as a partner, we're able to just talk to Vigilante or Veronica directly, and so that would be how I would report them.
Yeah, because that's...
How would I report them?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If it was somebody else that doesn't have direct access to the community managers.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, okay, I'm on the game right now, and I'm looking at ways of... Okay, so if it goes support...
Trying to follow along. Support?
So... I would say, the problem with trying to report, I don't know. Like, how do you? So, Manders, you're not a partner?
No, I am not.
Okay. Hi. By the way, I never said hi. Let me look. So. Yeah, I'm looking through these different options. How to contact us.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
And
so my thing, right? Okay, real quick, like still on the same topic, but while you're like looking through things, so if you wanted to report someone on YouTube, you don't just go to the report on YouTube because that just reports them to YouTube, and the same thing on Twitch. You just don't hit report because that just reports them to Twitch. You actually have to go to the game or to somewhere that no one knows where at the moment, but you go somewhere. Like, my thought on that is if you know someone, like, because a lot of people don't know like where to go or how to do it. So if you know someone that is a partner, you could low-key talk to them about the issue, and then they could reach out to the devs.
Yeah.
Another option too maybe would be to go to the Last Day on Earth Discord and then just type into their chat like, hi, I need to speak with a community manager or somebody like that, and then when they contact you, then you can report it that way.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let me. I don't know how effective it is because the Last Day on Earth. What's it at now? It's like.
Oh geez, the Discord.
Yeah, it's. Let me look it up real quick. It's. Oh no, that's not right.
I don't know how to see. All right, let me look at. If I just
It's crazy now. Let me pull up.
So, let me see if I can find offline. So there's over 3,000 people offline right now.
Yeah, we need to find offline. I can pull it up in just a second.
So that's not counting like the devs, the admins, the moderators, global advisors, partners, everybody else that is online.
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably close to 3,500.
I'm guessing it's a lot more than that. I'm guessing it's at least 200,000.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Man, where is it? I know they hit 100,000 a long time ago, and they made a big, like, hey, we hit 100,000.
Yeah, no, I read that wrong. I read online.
Yeah. So online, but why is this giving me trouble?
Yeah.
This is driving me crazy right now. Because this should be so easy to find out. Usually, all you have to do is invite people to the general, and nope, that didn't work. Oh my gosh.
Mad Dog is in the chat, and he said there's an LDOE Facebook page too that has direct support to the devs.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah, so I'd be curious to see from a non-partner how well that works as far as reporting. Because here's the thing, they just have a lot of people. And it's a big game. A lot of people are asking for a lot of things. People were losing their accounts. I don't know if that's still a real common thing.
Oh, geez.
But I just don't know how effective it's going to be. I definitely think Mander's idea is probably your best bet. Talking to a partner who can talk directly to Vigilante or Veronica, that's going to be your best bet for probably getting something done about it. Because Manders, you're exactly right. If you report a YouTube video, YouTube would just say, well, what's your proof? And you'd be like, I saw the split button light up, and YouTube would be like, what the heck are you talking about?
like, oh yeah, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
So, whereas Kafir is able to be like, yeah, we own the rights to this game. They're violating our code of, these rules. And they're able to show, that, because you can get in trouble. In fact, you can lose your YouTube channel for reporting someone that is like a false report, or at least that's not a here. That may not be true. That's what people have told me. But I haven't actually verified that information. So, but anyways, the point is, I think your best bet, but honestly, I don't know if if Kafir is going to do anything about normal hackers, other than they're probably creating some kind of codes to try to identify them. I know they've been working on that. They'll develop basically bots that can kind of crawl and see
Really?
who's abusing it, and then they ban those, you know. But the problem with that is it still doesn't fix the fact that, like your friend said, and a lot of modders are in this thing. They're like, well, I'll just go create another account and do it again. And within a week, I can have everything that I had because I have unlimited. And so that doesn't really work. The only thing that I think that Kefir has done that has produced longer results or long-lasting results is banning YouTube channels, banning Twitch accounts, for, because then there's money on the line.
Yes.
But, or there's something on the line. They don't want to lose those subscribers. They don't want to lose whatever. And so that has been helpful. But at the same time, I was asking Vigilante, like, what about this guy? He's getting 2,000 views an hour from one video. And they're like, yeah, we've reported him, but YouTube isn't doing anything about it. So I don't know.
So there's no way that Kefir can find that account and delete it, or do you think it wouldn't matter because he would just get the stuff back and do it again?
I mean, literally, the guy in the video is wearing the cheater hat. He used the mod to get the cheater hat so that he could brag that he's a cheater.
Oh my god! Like
why?
The cojones of these people! I'm telling you, like that's the most frustrating part. We're like, I'm untouchable. Oh my god.
And so I think that if they were able to find him, or the bots that they've created were able to find,
you would,
which I don't know if they'd be able to, because again, they're just programmers competing against programmers. At some point, you're dealing with people who are just as smart as you are at hiding as you are at finding them. And so, the only thing they have on advantage is, shutting down a YouTube channel where they can say, look, this is violating our rules. And then YouTube has to count it as a strike against them and shut down their YouTube channel. But if YouTube isn't doing that for whatever reason, I don't, and I don't know all the legal implications, because here's the thing, there's a lot of freedoms in the laws that people create a lot of freedoms. And so even though when you download the game, you have to sign the agreement that you're not going to cheat, and that you're not going to show videos that cheat, and you're not going to, like all the stuff that would make it against the law. Who says that a hacker can't download that and not sign that agreement? Because I don't know all the rules. So don't hear this as like law, because I haven't looked up all the rules, and I don't plan to, because unless there's some video that I think would be really cool, I'm not going to put the energy into that. But I do know that if they find a way around it to where they're like, no, I downloaded this and I never signed that agreement, and I was able to show that, and that maybe Kefir says, hey, they're breaking the rule, and the YouTube approaches him and he says, actually, I'm not breaking the rule. Here's code this and this and that, and law jurisdiction this, and they're like, oh, well, then we can't touch him.
Yeah.
Then he's going to be able to keep doing that. So I don't know what all the rules are.
Yeah, and all of that, that kind of, it all like ties into the last question before we check out questions on the Discord. But what happens after somebody's reported? So we have talked a little bit about this, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of these guys are, like they're wearing the cheater hats, and like they don't care about posting to YouTube or streaming it on Twitch, is because, unfortunately, at least in my opinion, Kefir's they haven't done, at least in my opinion, they haven't done enough. Because there have been, like you guys have been saying, like there's some people and you report them, and I see people saying the same stuff in the chat. You report channels, YouTube, Twitch, you report these guys, and there's not a lot of results. And it's unfortunate. I mean, and it's definitely not going to change my mentality. What I from what you've been saying, Fuerza, what I think is really interesting is that, you know, people are asking for this stuff on YouTube, and, you know, like, they're searching for it, and, like, people are, like, accepting of it. But on Twitch, and, like, the community, the people that are in the chat right now, like, they see somebody and they're like, nope, like, reported, and it's like, they want to shut it down immediately. So, like, the Twitch community, like, they come together and they're like, not here, like, not gonna watch your stream, not gonna support your channel. We're reporting you to Twitch. We're reporting you to Kafir. So and it's like it's a movement. Everybody's like, come on, we all get up in arms.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different there, but back to the point, like, it's unfortunate, at least in my opinion, that I don't think enough is being done, and I don't want to, you know, I know I'm a partner with these guys, so I don't want you to think that I'm just blasting them without giving them the opportunity to respond. I've reached out to Vigilante and Veronica and even, like, ZD and other people, and they're like, well, you know, we're doing everything that we can. So I asked them these questions: what's the best way of reporting somebody that we're suspecting, and then what happens after we report them? And all, like, the best answer I got was, we do the best we can. So I'm like, okay, so maybe, hopefully, the guys will watch this and want to give us a better answer, because, at least, again, my personal opinion, I'm kind of disappointed in the lack of follow through, you know, because people will go a ways, you know, to get screenshots or clips or whatever, that so they can have proof. You know, so they put in work, and they're like, okay, here's my case, here's my proof. What's next? And they're like, okay, we'll look at it, and then, you know, we'll see. And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that.
yeah. So we're gonna jump into some questions from Discord. How are the questions looking, Manders?
We have one.
Okay. Of course it's from Stealth.
He said, what has been said about the Fort Moss end result anything? I feel like they just overlooked it and didn't resolve the hackers at all. So I'm assuming he means, like, in partner chat. Have you guys discussed anything that you can share with us about what they're saying about anything?
The one thing that I saw in partner chat, and maybe I read this wrong, but the way that I had interpreted this message was that if you have a modified version of the game that you didn't have access to Fort Moss, which is clearly not true, because there's YouTube videos and things like that of people building up Fort Moss with no resources, and it's just straight steel. So that is immediately debunked. And maybe I interpreted what they said wrong, but but it's just so clearly not the case. And that goes back to me being let down by their lack of follow through, because we're like, this is actually, like, you know, we understand to a degree people cheating in the game doesn't impact a majority. So like, not in all cases that we've talked about today, but a majority of the people that just play the game, it doesn't affect them. But like Fuerza was saying, like, that's hitting his bottom line. With Fort Moss, it's kicking people out of the top 5. And we're like, hey, here's what we think, here's our case. And it just goes back to the same thing. It was like, well, yeah, they shouldn't have access to that. Well, they do. And I was disappointed by their lack of follow through once again on that. So that's, if
I could put my 2 cents in there real quick.
Sure.
So I was talking to you, Ruck, about this the other day when I was looking up the videos on hacking, and there is a few different, like, websites and things that kind of narrow down where people are going to get these hacks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest question, and something that, like, they could look at, is, can't you block these specific websites somewhere in the programming? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's like deep tech stuff, but I mean, like, there's got to be like some encoding somewhere where you can be like, okay, well, this website needs like 3,000 firewalls or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Huh. That's an
Not.
interesting. Yeah, no, that would definitely shut or maybe not shut them down, but at the very least make it a lot harder for them to get these versions of the game that aren't on the same playing field as everybody else.
Right.
All right. We get any more questions? This is probably going to be your last chance to ask any questions if we have anything from the Discord.
It looks like Chuck is typing.
Okay.
While Chuck's forming his question, I'd say that Kefir is, so again, going back to the beginning, Kefir created this game as a, they didn't know it was going to take off.
Mm-hmm.
It was very unfinished. They called it a beta, even though technically they released it in Google Play as a real game. And it took off, and they were like, "Oh, we should develop this."
Yeah.
Because it has already passed our main game, Forge of Glory, which is their first game. Yeah. And so they were like, "Okay, well, we're already making millions of dollars. Let's develop it." And so they were working on it, and they were doing a good job. They were hiring a lot of employees, and they were kind of building it up. And I think so. This is where I'm getting into my theory, and those of you who've seen some of my videos have probably heard some of these theories already. But I think they realized there is so many ways that we can go with this, and we don't really know. We love our concept. We love basically our intellectual property. We love our IP, and we want to develop it the best we can. But there's a lot of ways to go with it, and we're not sure we're going the right way with it. And so my theory, and I had this theory before Grimsoul was even a thing, was that they were like, we need to try out different genres. We need to try out different styles, different event types. And so they split up their event, their different dev teams into different groups. And that was eventually confirmed. And so it kind of created all of these different things. And so they are dealing with hacking in ways, but ultimately I don't think Kefir views Last Day on Earth as their final game. Frostborn has a lot better technology. Have you played Frostborn, Rukus?
I haven't played that one, no.
Okay, so Frostborn has loading screens that are 10 times faster than Last Day on Earth.
Really?
Yeah, and it is complete multiplayer. Everything is flawless multiplayer. Now I say flawless multiplayer. People are really upset with Frostborn because you can lose everything you own. So they're used to Last Day on Earth, where you build everything up, and in Frostborn, if a very overpowered group raids you, they can rob you of everything if they wanted to.
Oh, jeez.
If you're poor enough. Now, I was trying to help people see that actually you can keep like over 100 slots of your items, but by hiding them in your workbenches. But people are still used to that concept of hoarding and building up huge amounts of resources.
Yep.
And so they so Frostborn is a disappointment to some people because of that, but on a technological level, it is far superior. Much better graphics, much better loading screens, much better. Just the smoothness, the skills are all interactive. Like you're shooting spells, you're doing area effect stuff. All of the enemies have, different, different skills they're using, and all of this goes into play at the same time. And so there's a lot of skill-based stuff. A lot of the dungeons are like fire stuff that comes out, and all of this stuff. And that's still created by Kafir. It's only available in 6 countries right now. But if you're a partner, they'll probably give you access.
I was gonna say, maybe I could pull some strings.
Yeah, and so they did a really good job, and that confirmed a theory that I'd already had, that they're really just trying to figure out how to create a good game based on their original intent. And honestly, and this may sound really bad, but I really think that Last Day on Earth is just a cash cow to fund that greater project. That they found a way to make a lot of money there, and that's the goal of Last Day on Earth, is to make money. And it is their Clash of Clans. They're gonna milk people for money. And and this is where I still believe in Kafir. I still believe the best of them. I think that they're using that money to develop a really awesome game elsewhere, and have a really strong dev team and all these different games that they're creating: Jurassic Survival, Cube Survival, Westland Survival. All of those are Kafir related.
Yeah.
And so I think they're trying to create I think they're trying to analyze, get stats on what we're doing. I mean, clearly they're adding. Well, actually, I can't say that. Never mind. Yeah. So basically, like the season stuff, that seems to be working pretty. They're realizing, hey, seasons gets us a lot of money, so let's add that to the other games.
Yeah.
They're adding, they're just doing a lot of different things to where it's like, hey, this is working in one game. Oh, the loading screens in multiplayer, or not the loading screens, the lag in multiplayer in Frostborn, they ended up changing that and adding that using. Oh man, Star Snipes, Herrick, and I figured it out. Frostborn was using localized servers based on general areas.
Oh, interesting.
And Last Day on Earth wasn't, but it was making it really laggy. And so they ended up creating a really cool system where they were use localized servers, where it was like they have now a North American server, a European server.
Yeah.
But those servers can still, if you create a party with someone, they can still overlap.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Normally that's not the case.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So we figured that out because the party system was broken at one point, and Cyric wasn't loading in with Star and I, and so we got Cyric to use a VPN to switch to North America, and then he loaded in.
I remember that video.
You remember that? You watched that? Okay,
yeah, I did.
Oh wait, I guess they probably posted that too. Did you watch it on my channel, or you watch it on one of theirs?
I have no idea where I seen it. I just saw all you guys doing it, and I was like, oh no, Cyric's left behind.
Yeah, he was left behind for a while, and then we got him in, and so that's when we realized, I knew that they had improved it, but I didn't realize, y'all copied Frostborn's technology, which they're all Kafir, it might as well,
right?
And then that's how they were able to get where they needed to go with that game. So I think it's just very interesting how I think they're creating a super game, and honestly, I've been playing another game lately that's a little different. It's not a Kafir game. But it is based on Rust, which is Last Day on Earth got a lot of their inspiration from Rust.
Right.
And I think Kafir has still a lot of improvements that they can make on creating that game that's going to be fun for a long time. But I think they'll eventually do it. It's just taking them a long time.
So you have another video, and this is kind of where I thought you were going, and then you just took a hard turn, because you have a video that where you say that Kafir's not greedy, but then you say, and then you just said that the Last Day on Earth was a cash cow. So can both of those things be true?
Yeah. So in that, yeah. So I would say, if I am correct that they are trying to create an awesome game, then I would argue that means that they're not greedy in the sense that at least people are saying that they are.
Okay.
That you can simultaneously milk, so to speak, one game. But if you're doing it to fund developers and creators to create a really good game, then there still is that passion for gaming.
Okay.
And so that's where I would say that those two can exist. I think that if they do ever give up on trying to create the original idea that we all fell in love with, Last Day on Earth, the reason why it grew so big in the first place, then I would say that they are greedy. that they've lost the true vision of being a developer, if they fail to try to create that perfect game. And honestly, I don't have a problem if they. I think it's their prerogative even if they are greedy. they're a business.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, you know what? I might not want to be a part of it, but if they decide, no, we're just going to milk it and we're all going to go home to our real lives and enjoy our nice paychecks, then that's their prerogative. But I think if they're going to be true to the developer spirit, like what they can be proud of when they go home, they're going to, I really hope they're still working on trying to create that perfect game that has the perfect feel, that, you know, that kind of that blockbuster game, you know, the type of game like I mean, that's really what we were all hoping for. You know, when we saw the Last Day on Earth IP, we thought this has the potential to be like a PUBG, you know, to revolutionize, you know, create battle royale that revolutionized the gaming industry. I think a lot of us thought the same thing with Last Day on Earth. This has the concept, this has the idea of revolutionizing the gaming industry, and they haven't done it yet. But I think that they could. And I have a lot of theories on how they could get there. Some of which I've shared, some of which I haven't. But I think that if they ever give up on that and give up on trying to create that, then I'll be really sad.
Yeah. And it was because it was the 2017 like innovative game of the year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to take that topic and then tie it into something else from one of your videos. I watched a lot of your videos today. So do you think that hacking or because I was talking about how I feel like they're not doing as much as a company as they could be to do stuff with these hackers. In one of your videos, you mentioned where you think maybe that Kafir is holding themselves back and they're holding the game back so it doesn't blow up, so they can get all the right pieces in all the right places, so they don't have the competition. So all the other gaming companies are like, oh, hey, this is a great concept, we're going to do that. Because right now it's not happening. So do you think that influences, they're like, well, maybe we want the game to kind of be ruined a little bit, but not all the way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I got a lot of feedback from that I was giving them too much credit.
Yeah, maybe.
They might, maybe so. I am a very optimistic person. I generally think everyone's brilliant until they prove otherwise. And so, you know, I guess I would say I have cooled my view on that a little bit.
Okay.
Mainly because they did end up releasing the ATV. They did end up, this whole season thing, which again, it could be testing the waters, but they've upped their game on advertising Last Day on Earth. I mean, there's a lot more advertisements for Last Day on Earth.
That
now.
Is true.
So those are all signs that they aren't trying to stifle their. And so that's where I've kind of been like, no. I think more so. I think what might still be true a little bit is and where I've gotten the whole cash cow mindset is they're like, you know what, they probably hired someone different than the original lead developer to take over Last Day on Earth and say, look, just make as much money as we can, and then whoever had the original passion, who's probably wealthy right now, and I'm hoping still has a real drive for creating something beautiful. My hope is that he then went on to create, I don't know if he's in charge of Frostborn or something we haven't even seen. Or maybe the whole project. But whatever it is, my hope is that he's over there kind of, okay, we got a good source of income. Now we can pay for as many developers as we want to work on as many projects as we want. And now let's create something, bigger. I don't think Frostborn would exist if they weren't trying to do that at some level, because it's clearly an upgraded game technology wise. Personally, I like the Norse mythology better, and so that definitely makes it more for me. But even just on a technological and graphic standpoint, it's just a much more advanced game. So they're clearly putting money. And it's obviously not going to make them the money that they're putting into it.
Right.
At least not like Last Day on Earth. It's only available in 6 countries. So they're clearly not trying to. They're not, like, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, Jurassic Survival, Grimsoul, and they're all just duplicates just to make more money. I just don't think that makes sense. I think that if that were the case, they would just do things a little bit differently. They would do like the Kings Group or whatever that game company is. They found a way of making money, and they just duplicate all of their games into different genres, and they just milk it. They advertise. They offered me a sponsorship recently, and I don't really like those type of games. But my wife does, and so I think I'm going to be making my wife is going to be making her first YouTube video. Which she'll be getting paid more than me since it'll be a sponsored video.
There you go.
And so that's cool. I mean, my wife likes those games. She doesn't spend a ton of money on them, if any. And so, personally, they're not my favorite thing, because they tell me what I need to do next, and I like to try to figure that out myself. But everyone has their own games that they love, and so I think to get back to the point, if that I went away from. Basically, if Kefir were just trying to milk, they weren't still trying to find that sweet spot, I think they would have just done what the Kings Group does and just milked those different genres and just worked it. And I just don't feel like that's what they're doing. It feels like they're trying to create new things. They're trying to experiment with things. They're getting information from players. What do y'all feel about this? How do you feel about this? What does this look like? And they are making a lot of money, but And yeah, and some things I think don't add up. Sorry to keep talking, but
Good.
Because at one point, I made that video about how to make Last Stand a pay-to-win game, and I don't know if y'all saw that one or not, but I was really talking about Frostborn in that video. Frostborn wasn't public knowledge yet, but I told the devs, hey, this video is actually about Frostborn. And they said they seriously considered it, but they said, man, for us to do that, which we think so this is what, and they said it was fine for me to share this. They said, it would be okay for, we're interested in, we even think that that's probably where gaming's eventually going. That's where we're going to end up, is a free-to-play game. Which was very encouraging to hear that.
Yeah,
I thought,
sure.
oh, that's so encouraging that is where y'all think y'all are going to end up. But Veronica was saying, but we just have to make sure we make enough money off of the project first. And that was talking about Frostborn. So that does make me think, well, I guess they are still trying to hit certain numbers on on their games, and on even the new ones. So that doesn't quite line up with my theory, but I still feel like it's somewhat true. Just the fact that they are continuing to hire more developers, that they are, the different games do have different feels. It's not like the Games Group where it's just a straight port with different genres. It really does feel like, no, these developers are given the freedom to try new things and create new things. So
that's what I appreciate. They're trying out these different concepts on different platforms, and then what I would hope is that what works on these other platforms they bring to Last Day on Earth. But yeah, guess we'll see how that plays out. Manders, what other questions we got going in the Discord?
Hold on, I lost my place.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, do you feel like you would have made top 5 had you taken Fort Moss seriously from day one? From Chuck. I'm gonna say yes.
Well, yeah. So you did the numbers, and yeah, even with everything going on, I would jeez, I don't know, because I didn't know, when I started Fort Moss, I honestly wasn't even looking at the points. I was just doing it, and then after day 2, I was like, oh, I'm in the top 5%, so I must be doing something right. So not knowing anything, and then having this stuff happen, I would probably say no. But if I could go back knowing what I know now, yeah, maybe I would, because I would take it more serious. I would make sure I'm doing the hardest hordes, because I think I did one level 2 horde until I started falling behind, towards the end. I think the level 30 wave, I did level 3 because I was like, oh, we really gotta get our stuff together. So if I know then what I know now, I would say yes, but I don't know. I'd say probably not. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question though. And who was that? That was from Chuck?
Chuck.
Good question, Chuck. Thank you for that one.
And then Stealth added question, heard anything about horse will be added?
About the horse? Oh,
I'm glad someone finally said it, because I'm dying over here.
Well, they're probably testing out that concept in what is it, Western Survival? Is that what it's called?
Well, they have the horse in Grimsoul Survival.
Oh, and okay.
Yeah, and so they have a good horse. I think Grimsoul will probably lead the way on that. Western Survival does But Grimsoul Survival plans to add the War Horse, where you actually fight from horseback
Interesting.
in the zones. They don't. When they first announced it, they said, we're not sure we'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Development, but we're going to try.
Wait, it was announced before the developers were like, yeah.
Well, Grimsoul's a pretty small team, and but they're a cool. I liked the honesty. They're like, we definitely, obviously the players want this, and so we're going to try to make it happen. We're just not sure if we're going to be able to make it happen. So,
yeah. All right. We got any other questions?
I think this is a question from Mad Dog. I'm not sure if it's a statement or question, but why do they make updates that are easily hacked, such as Fort Moss and Sector 7? These are part of the game that may not directly affect everyday, but still demoralize everyday gamers.
Yeah, great question. Fuerza, go ahead.
So from my understanding, Sector 7 cannot be hacked. Is that? Has anyone seen anything that would imply otherwise?
I haven't.
I can't say that I have. I mean, I try to avoid it, but yeah. Because I'm like, it's because a view is support. Like, if somebody's like, I hacked this thing, and you watch it, you're supporting the channel, and I don't want to do that.
To be fair, though, I haven't really seen a lot of videos on Sector 7. Like, when it first came out, it was like a thing for a little while, and then, to be honest, it just kind of died off a little bit.
Well, because of what Kafir did. I don't know what genius was like, okay, we're going to release this brand new update and all this Sector 7 stuff, and then 2 weeks later, they're like, Season 3, and it's like, so everybody forgets about Sector 7, and then goes into Season 3 stuff. Like, it was... And again, I love Kafir. I'm glad I'm a partner with him, but that was a terrible timeline decision for them to release two, big new sections of content for people that are craving new content. They release them both within a month of each other. I don't understand that. So that's maybe why Sector 7 got a little bit looked over, I think.
Yeah. But from my understanding, it's unhacked. It's hacker proof.
Yeah, well, that's
what the devs said. So.
Well, they also said that hackers weren't gonna affect Fort Moss. So
that definitely. That's why I'm curious, because until you said that, so far the devs have been and so, but that's what they said. They said that it is impossible to hack Sector 7 because everything is on the server, which is how you avoid hacking. Create this.
That's true.
Basically, the server is what holds who has what resources.
Yeah.
And that's how you prevent hackers. And so, when they said that, I believed them. And so I'd be curious if anyone found otherwise. Please, if y'all find out, please message me on Discord. I'm still operating under the belief that it is not hackable.
Yeah, so I'm reading through the chat. I don't see anything. I think no one streamed Sector 7 because it sucks. Yeah, so I don't see anybody saying that they've seen anything hacked in Sector 7. So that's a relief. Wait, so let's hold on. What was the full question from Mad Dog? So as far as like why they make the updates that are hacked or that are so easily hacked, I mean that probably goes back to what Fuerza was just saying about how the resources and everything is stored. So it's not like a new update is not going to be hackable. I think, well, again, except for the Sector 7 stuff apparently, which is good. But yeah, so it's I would hope not intentional, Mad Dog, but yeah, I think it's just the way that the game was created and how they store the data about where the resources are kept. So Yeah, I don't know. That's what I think, anyways. All right. Any other questions, Manders? I think Manders might be tending to a baby at the moment. I thought I heard a little fussing going on in the background. Let me check. I don't see anything. All right. So if there's no more questions, then I think we're going to. Manders muted herself. That's Manders is muted. And I don't see any more questions. All right. So I think that's gonna wrap it up. So I gotta give a bunch of big thank yous. First and foremost, Fuerza, thank you so much for joining the podcast. We're absolutely honored to have you. I hope maybe we can have you on again. And also big thank you, especially to the content that you create. Like I said, I appreciate the hard work that you put into creating your YouTube videos. All I can say is keep it up, and when can we expect your next video coming to the YouTubes?
So like I said, my next one's probably gonna be is likely gonna be my wife on a different game.
Okay.
But I do plan. I don't want to make any promises, but I do plan to release soon the efficacious way to gather ash. A partner with ZD, who has unlocked his ATV, and so he wanted to partner or work with me, and so he kind of wrote up the most efficient way. It's not what I'm used to. I'm used to kind of creating it myself, and so it's a little nerve-wracking to do it based on someone else's opinion on what is the most efficient way to do something.
True.
But he seems to have a pretty good reputation, so
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, ZD's a good guy. He helped me out so much when I first got partnered. He kind of walked me through everything that I needed to know. All right. Well, thanks again for joining. Shout out to Star Snipe for letting us use some audio from his clips. Big shout out to Modic for the new overlay. By the way, guys, what do you think of the new overlay? This dude, I didn't ask him for this. He just sent it to me, and he was like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, please." Thank you so much. So thank you to Modic. Thank you to Manders for taking the time to research all of the stuff we were talking about today. Thanks to everybody that was asking questions in the Discord. So we are gonna take about a month or so off. Yeah, it's about a perfect month for the holidays. So we're not gonna have another podcast until January 8th is when we're gonna record the next podcast. We're gonna have Ben the Brute. We're going to talk about the differences between free-to-play and pay-to-play accounts in Last Day on Earth. So with that, thank you, everybody, and I can't wait to see you guys out there on the next one.